Welcome back to the Masters of Materium, where we go over every single deed and look at a bunch of different building options. And more importantly, we're admiring Aaelim's months of work as he's literally recreated these deeds and many of the buildings inside of a game called Valheim. And we're going to get into the Viscount. Grill, let it roll.
All right. The Viscount, big step up here. Feels like a little city.
What we see here is the first of the deeds that have a large building. As Grill has alluded to, this is a significant step up. The Viscount is very compact. It has a lot of buildings in a relatively small space. Like size-wise, it's around the same size as a farming hamlet, but it has more than twice the buildings. On the left-hand side is the plot map, as you can see. Based in RPG Maker, and the right side is the aerial view of the recreated Village of the Viscount. And this one's kind of built into the side of a hill, right on the edge of the water. And as we'll see a little bit later on, where we came from the farming hamlet and the ranching hamlet, this is on the other side of the bay. So we took a boat and we sailed over to here. Another thing I should mention is in terms of just general building layouts, there's a simple granary and a grain stand, which are in the top left, and both of those are next to the farming plots, which is logical. We have the camp, temple, and cemetery all together in the bottom left, and that as well is fairly logical. You know, you resurrect, you're going to want to restore your hit points at the camp. You're going to want to potentially buff up at the temple or remove any hexes, curses, ailments, etc. at the temple as well. At crafting area, the forge and wood shop are right next to each other, and they're directly across from the main town square with the weapon shop and archery shop. This particular village has a large butchery, but really any of the potential larges, other than something like a large granary potentially or a large storehouse, would be reasonable for your Viscount. And the large building, given how rare they are, will pretty much dictate the focus of your particular deed. So in this one being a large butchery, they'll be probably transporting meat-related products from the ranching into this to process the highest tier meats. Then you have the brewery right next to the tavern. Again, you have efficiency and placement is important. So, and you have a stonecraft shop as well to help quarry away at all that side of the mountain that this particular deed has been made into. And then it's surrounded in 5x5. So you have some simple storehouses on the top right and the bottom left, nice and spread out for easy access, a hitching post kind of out of the way, and a bunch of other buildings, cloth stand, potion stand, archery stand, jewelry stand, etc., which supplement what the 10x10 and the 10x20s don't have. So you have what you see here is a kind of a reasonable all-around Village of the Viscount.
Yeah, what's great about the Viscount is you really don't have to make any hard choices on building options. You essentially have enough space when you factor all the 5x5s to put pretty much every type of building. Grill, you want to share the spreadsheet? We can quickly go over that for a second. So this is just a spreadsheet that we're working on to show you potential options. As Aaelim mentioned, probably the biggest decision you're going to have to make is the large plots because they're so rare and so valuable. And we will be creating a tier video for buildings, but probably some of the top three large options is the cemetery, the jeweler, and the potion. And as Aaelim mentioned, like what edge or what focus do you want your village to have? I think that's really a key question as you're designing or selecting or buying or renting your plots. So anyways, those are some options, and that's it.
Let's kind of work through some of the slides here, and then we'll get to the videos. You got the foundational shots. We showed it in the ranching video. A couple more a little closer. This is partially with just the house built, and we'll talk more about the house in a minute. This is about halfway done, maybe a little less. Some more shots, a little more built up, just this one corner is missing. And this is completed. And this is me taking a shot from the hill here, kind of overlooking the water. Thought this looked very scenic. Looks like there's something flying around in the air there.
I think that's a seagull.
It's a dragon, okay? It's a dragon. You got to make things epic here. So kind of looking in. As you can see, this was Morrow's Viscount.
Yeah, Morrow is one of our members. Very cool dude. Hung out with them in Malta. Been a part of Aaelim and Grill's group for a very long time.
Go a little further. This is kind of inside the town. As you can see, things are crowded on here. Everything's kind of on top of each other. Feels like the city, like I said. So you got a little ranching here on the right. I think that's a brewery on the left.
Feels like Switzerland to me. I don't know if you guys have been to Switzerland, but I've been some towns in Switzerland that kind of have this feel a little bit.
This is like the kind of the city center where that decoration is. You have the large butchery, the first little peek at a large building. There's a forge across the way and the house in the background. Another little shot of the large butchery with the torches lit. This is inside the large butchery, and you see it's a pretty significant step up from the regular one. I don't know if you want to talk on that a little bit, Aaelim.
So yeah, so very similar how we mentioned on the farming hamlet video, from the bread stand to the bakery. Going from a meat stand to a butchery to a large butchery is a significant step up. So first off, you have a lot more space, so a lot more work spots. You're going to have higher tier product, the best of the best. Large buildings, for the most part, for crafting, with a few exceptions, is the highest tier buildings in their particular field. And the butchery is no exception. So you want the best beef, this is where you get it. You want the Wagyu cuts or what have you. So you can see over the fireplace, that's kind of the higher tier meats. Even though some of these buildings can produce the higher tier meats, it's worthwhile of note that there's no other butchery like a 10 by 10 in this place. So some of these large butcheries will probably use some of their production capacity for lower tier stuff as well. And you can see on the far left there, like a smaller meat stand, which is just hanging some deer meat. So you'll likely see a little bit of all the different tiers of product, based on your specialization and your supply and demand of incoming and outgoing products.
So after this, we got a shot of the forge, the brewery again. This is a little inside south of the brewery. This is the tavern next door. Looks well stocked. Some soup in front of me. Tankards full of ale. Miranda's tankards full of ale there on the counter. Little temple in case you screwed up and you need to make amends. This is the weapon shop on the left and the armor shop on the right. This is inside the armor shop. You can see all the sets of armor for sale. Guy's doing pretty good. There's stacks of money on the counter. Another wood shop. And here's the house.
It's more or less, or at least the top floor of it is square, so it takes full use of the 20 by 20 plot, and that makes the interior one of the most spacious literally of all the deeds. Actually, from an interior space, the only deeds house that is larger is the Town of the Prince's house, which of course is my favorite deed, and we'll get to a bit later. But I really like the Viscount, and this is one of the deeds that I also have as well. So I spent maybe a little more time working on the Viscount as a result.
No, that was your first Mirandus NFT, right?
It was. This is the very first NFT I had from Mirandus.
I think it was mine as well.
Yeah, that's a great starting point. How can you go wrong with the Viscount, right? So you see here, walking up, Viscount home. Got some shots on the insides. This is the first floor.
Very spacious. Access is everything, right? Higher tier, lots of space. Very nice. Big step up from all the other deeds for sure.
A couple more. This is on the second floor. Got some torches lit, looking down.
Little cartography table on the left for all those cartographers that are going to be put to work.
That's right. A little shot up here. This is the bedroom.
And the most important part on the left there. Do we have another shot of that, girl?
Oh yeah. Don't worry about that. We got there's your hot tub, and I don't know what that's going. I don't know what this Viscount's up to, but
He's up to
some weird
some
stuff,
something
yeah.
suspicious. Maybe the occult. That in the game is actually for enchantments or magical items. So they could be running some sort of you know, enchanting business or maybe branding people or something. Yeah, he's up to something for sure.
Selling pit fighters in the dark market.
Maybe we'll have to ask Moro if we get him on one of these times what he's up to in his Viscount.
So it's a couple more
Hot Tub
shots.
Titan. Mhm.
That's right.
And of course, yeah, we have the hot tub, which is great. Here's the cartography table as well. And in Valheim specifically, this is not the way it's going to work in Mirandus exactly, at least as far as we know. But someone can drop off what they've mapped out, and if someone else goes to the table, they can copy what's been mapped out by the other person. So in Mirandus, the way the cartography is going to work to the best of our knowledge, a cartographer goes around a zone, they make the map an NFT, and then they sell that map to you, in which case you open up a mini map version of that particular zone.
So this is from the dock. So when you arrive at the Viscount, this will be your view from the dock. And then I just kind of took a little shot of the dock on the water here. So I like this. I like the location of the Viscount, very scenic. All right. Now we'll get into that sweet video footage.
Yeah, so we're all aboard. Grill is the skipper, and looks like Virtual's navigating there. I'm kind of just sitting down, relaxing. Van's holding fast.
I'm just posing, man. I'm doing nothing.
Posing.
He's looking like Washington crossing the Delaware right now.
So what we're doing here is we're leaving the town of the Duke and we're heading over to the village of the Viscount. And it's just across the kind of the bay or river or what have you here. And Grill's taking a nice leisurely approach here at half sail. So. And it's nice. Like I really wish Mirandus would have this kind of sailing. The plan in Mirandus at the present is kind of just point and click and go to where you're going. But honestly, this is probably one of the best parts of Valheim. We certainly did plenty of sailing, that's for sure. Let's see the skills. You can kind of see the village of the Viscount coming into view here. It's loading slowly.
I suspect they're going to launch obviously the way they've talked, which is more of a point and click and you show up. But as time progresses, I could see them definitely developing a complex sea navigation system.
It would be good for an expansion for sure. You can kind of see the Viscount here and kind of get a feel of its scale. The pretty significant swells coming into the Viscount here. We got our pro skipper here is going to park us with no issue whatsoever.
That parking job. All right.
So here we have the billboard displaying all the details of the village of the Viscount. And we have the aerial view of the village of the Viscount encircling the entire region to show the scale, its location, and the general environment around the Viscount. You can also see the docks here as well and path going to the town of the Marquis. So we switched it to nighttime. We're looking from overhead, and those torches are a different kind of torch. They use guck instead of, say, like resin. It's just more or less to highlight what things can look at night and kind of highlight how important lighting is and stuff in these locations. Another thing that you noticed from the farming hamlet was the lit neon signs. This is pre-lit neon signs, so it's a little harder to see what we're looking at. But I can tell you just by looking, this here is a potion stand. So, you have a nice little collection of potions here. You have a simple storehouse, kind of store all your stuff, maybe throw a potioner there too when you're stopping home. You got a cemetery, which looks pretty eerie with the kind of the green lights. And you can see all the raised graveyards and such. Really narrow walkways between everything. So we walk into the temple after you resurrect, sit down on the pew and pray to whatever kind of god that is, the tree / strange looking pole god. And then you want to heal up. So, the average person is not going to have their own house. So they're going to be wanting to come into tents, camps, inns, or what have you to restore their hit points. A little bit of ranching, as you can see there. And this is one of the entrances. There's 4 entrances to the Viscount too. They're very accessible. Simple granary right next to all of the farming, and a grain stand, which is a 5x5 mill to mill the farmed products. You see Virtual hanging out at the brewery, having some good quality Mirandus ale with his flaming sword. He's probably pretty hot, so he needs to drink a lot of ale to cool off. Coming there, once you go from there, you probably, after you stop in the brewery, you go right to the tavern for some more ale and maybe some food at the same time.
I think he stumbled from one to the other.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a pub crawl. This particular tavern is not very popular by the looks of it. There's only me in there. But come along here, we have a stonecraft shop. Got to work on those stone walls. Here's where you get it. So you see a few sets of stone there that you could potentially, buy, and then you have the stonecraft and grinding wheels and such to actually process the stone. And you're likely going to see, conveyors coming in and out of here, and horses and the like, bringing this heavy product in for processing, and then that would likely get shipped across to some of the towns and such, which are going to use more stone. This particular deed does have some ranching, so we have a milking stand, and we have some more food here. So here's the bread stand, and of course, like we said, everything's functional. And we have jewelry, and the jewel crafting can do several things. Obviously, they can make jewelry, necklaces, and rings, and they can also do some basic enchants of items. This simple jeweler doesn't have the capabilities for enchanting, but that doesn't necessarily mean in Mirandus it won't. I would suspect they could probably do some minor enchants there. Next building we have here is a simple archery. And this simple archery obviously is doing really well because he has like top tier bows and such, equivalent almost in tier to the large archery. So whatever he's doing, this guy is doing it well, to say the least. We'll come around here in the back. Those buildings there were the weapon shop and armor shop. Looks like we're going to stop into the large butchery temporarily. And as we previously mentioned, lots of crafting stations, multiple butcher's block, lots of items. Several different racks for hanging and cooking meats, and that's your mainstay for meats. Something like a large butchery in a Viscount wouldn't likely just be used for the Viscount. This is something that would transport goods to a fairly large area to give them the top quality product, selling to the high tier inns and taverns. Oh, you got Virtual going into looks like maybe the armor weapon shop. We got Van here busy in the forge. So this forge here, and I suspect you'll see kind of things similar in Mirandus where you have, there's a blast furnace, there's a smelter, you can have a kiln, you can have the actual forge itself. So, you can sell items, you can purchase items, you can craft items. You have buildings that are used for, making charcoal to process your metals and smelt and such as well. So yeah, I suspect you'll see very similar things in Mirandus, especially given the Knights of the Round image that we saw previously that showed their requirements were charcoal and heat from the forge, etc.
Oh, I thought the requirements for Knights of the Round was a golden chocobo.
Well, in Final Fantasy VII, sure. that golden chocobo, you better get a Knights of the Round after all the effort you had to take to get that.
That was some grind, man. Oh my god.
So we're coming around here, and we have the armor shop, and you see multiple different tiers of armor. And the way that I have these armor shops designed is that the higher the tier building, the higher the tier armor sets, the more different kinds of armor sets. They have you see some shields, you have actual armor, and you have some things such as capes and such as well. And he's doing very good, as Grill alluded to. Look at all that money just sitting on the tail. Should snatch some of that while we're at it. How it goes back for. He thinks about it. He's always going to snatch. Oh, but it's already empty. Someone got there first, it looks like. So all these buildings will have storage, as we alluded to previously. And that's kind of an example that you're seeing here. So we're coming in here in the weapon shop, and we have magical items in the back. We also see a bunch of kind of tools and other kinds of weapons up for display. Grill looks like he's busy. He's going to grab me a fire staff. which I, obviously want to test out. Hopefully not burn down this wooden building that's hosing the fire staff. Apparently I'm not terribly happy with it because I punched the desk and I just leave.
You didn't like my price, apparently.
Yeah, he's probably trying to rip me off, man. And we have another wood shop, as we've seen in some previous deeds. I don't spend a whole lot of time there. The Viscount home, which we've said is very nice. We have a good look at that here in a second. And very spacious, lots of room for, sitting, cooking, storage, nice little raven throne here to look around to kind of flaunt your wealth and bask in your success here of being a Viscount.
Yeah, I feel like a legend.
Your marble table, even like this guy's, he's making good use of his tax dollars from all his hardworking subjects. Got the cartography table, as we've seen in the previous image. Lots of little sculptures and stuff recorded. You can see the whole map. You can see where it's labeled there. Those are where all the different deeds are that we've created. So far left, we have like the town of the Duke, Village of the Farmer. Towards the bottom left was the Earl. Then you have the complex of outpost, homestead, farming hamlet, ranching hamlet, town of the Duke to the left of where we currently are. Where we are right now is where you're seeing that red dot, and that's the Village of the Viscount. Then up to the right, town of the Marquis. The far right up in the mountains, at the very top of the mountain, is the Village of the Baron, and to the southeast of where we are is the town of the Prince. Yeah, so we're just, taking our time, going up to the third floor, up to the Viscount's chambers. See if we got the hot tub heated up here. We have a little rest in the hot tub, of course. Need some people to join in here. Hopefully we have some people join in. Maybe not.
We need a few elf babes to join us. You know what I mean?
Oh, most definitely. I'd expect them to be there already, just ready for the Viscount to come home, right? So just a quick run through town, just to kind of have a feel what it looks like going towards the dock. At this point, the next step was we were heading off to the Marquis.
And that's it. Thanks for watching. Aaelim, again, absolutely incredible work. This is months of work to rebuild these. If you haven't joined us yet, check us out, mastersofmaterium.com. Click the Discord link. Very easy to join us. We are welcoming every single person that is interested in Mirandus. We are the most dominant guild in terms of assets, and we're ready to dominate the game. That's it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you check out our other videos in the series as well as our older content about exemplars and deeds. Thank you.